You're listening to Thrill Talk, where we discuss business, life, and everything else we like. Produced in Tucson, Arizona, and brought to you by Team Integrity Homes and the Military PCS Referral Network. Here's Aaron and Chase.
All right, we are back with part two. In a previous podcast, we talked about being a giver and being a taker, and some of those that are matchers.
That's right.
So we wanted to take some time, about 20, 30 minutes, and cover the top 5 things that we wrote down that people ask us about team integrity and the organization as a whole. This was stemmed from a great young real estate agent, military spouse named Tanya. She is running the PCS Pro team.
There you go. I think it's that PCS Pro team.
Yes.
That's right. And so she's in a couple different locations, and
yep,
you know,
she is young 20s, I believe.
Yeah.
And I wish I had my real estate license when I was in my young 20s.
It'd be dangerous.
Yeah. Maybe I'm glad I was not making that type of money in my young 20s. That'd be bad. So we were just talking about that, and we kind of came up with a list of the top 5 things that we just have conversations with individuals about. And this may be a psychologist, maybe a real estate person, it may be someone that owns a printing company, whatever.
Yeah.
So, so we will dive straight into this. So we're going to cover 5. We will spend some time on a few and more time on others, and we will see where this goes. So, first one is this. This is, in my opinion, the one that we get whenever we talk about it in public, especially, people will look at us and they'll kind of do that finger scratch on the head and go, how does that work?
Yeah, I think we get the gold star on this one.
We do, and Tanya, for example, we were talking to her and we talked about how do you implement accountability, and we talked about accountability and what our day looks like, and her response was something to the effect of, but how do you do that? And our response is just what we do. Like
it's a part of the culture.
Like we don't think about it. We don't think about it. So how do you implement accountability? So what are some of the accountability checks that we have with agents?
I think a lot of people need to know what the heck accountability is to begin with, and why accountability is important. When we talk about accountability, we always talk about this. It's like everybody says they want accountability, but what?
So everybody likes when everybody says I like accountability, what they really mean is they like the results of accountability. They actually don't like the feeling of accountability.
That's right. So they don't like being held accountable.
Here's an example. If I were to be somebody who works out, hypothetically, I would like the results of accountability. I'd like a rad 6-pack, pecs, all that stuff. I don't like the idea of eating healthy and being accountable to a trainer. Mm-hmm. I like the idea of the results.
Exactly.
But I don't like the feeling of accountability.
So what they'll do is they'll just get just enough of what they want if they have the results. And then they stop right there.
Yeah.
And I think what we do is we just kind of take that onion, take a layer in, and just kind of, and that goes right back to standards. We have to have, if we have standards, we have to have accountability to those standards.
Yep.
And then to go back to the question that you asked, though, is what are some of the things that we have in place?
I say this, standards, this is maybe one of the only quotes I've ever come up with. Standards without accountability are purely suggestions.
Yes, they are.
Standards without accountability are purely suggestions.
Yeah.
So what are some of the things that we do to keep people accountable? And wait, before we say that, what are we keeping people accountable to?
Their goals.
Their goal. And
their goals.
That'll be number 5. We'll talk about goals, but we're keeping that we.
So this
has to be very clear. Nobody comes into team integrity and we sit with them and go, hey, your goal is this.
Yep.
You need to make this. When we are helping hold people accountable, it is 100% to the goal that they came up with.
And not only that, it's multiple conversations and them witnessing what other people are doing within the organization. And it's ultimately, again, it's taking a microscope.
Yep.
in on them to figure out what they want to do.
We may be one of the only real estate organizations that talk down people's goals.
Yeah. That may sound bad, but
it's realistic.
You've got to be realistic with it.
I may sit with you, Aaron. You go, my goal is 120 transactions this year. And I'm like, dude, but it's December and you close 60. How are you going to double that? And you're doing the same activities. Let's go down to 100.
Now you have an unrealistic expectation. Yeah. And you know what? What does that do to motivation?
So we hold people, it must be said, we hold people accountable to their goals, not imposed
That's
goals.
Right.
Okay. So what are some of the things that we have?
You know what? There's a good plethora of them. We start with waterboarding, and then we go into different torture techniques and all that. But no, in all seriousness.
Reclaimed water, though.
Yes.
Reclaimed water.
No.
Environmentally friendly.
It's the simple things. And too many people think that it's got to be some complex, disciplined, whip snapping, being a jerk, and it's not. When you have other people that to your left and to your right that are holding you accountable to your own goal because they don't want you to fail.
Yep.
When you have that, you can call it teamwork, you can call it accountability. But ultimately, that's the driver and motivation behind it. We will have, for instance, in real estate, we have certain dynamics that we need to make sure that we hit in order to get a result. So a certain number. So we talk about that daily. And why do we talk about daily? We kind of relate it to a GPS. So let me go back to the 4 different areas. It's number of contacts. We even define exactly what that is.
Yep.
What is a contact? We get into that. How many appointments did they set, and how many did they hold, and then how many contracts did they write? We're not talking about money now.
And that's
money's out of the equation.
That's for a day.
I mean, yes, every day that is required. It's not like, oh, gotta get it. It's a habit. Once it becomes a habit, it's just like brushing your teeth.
Mm-hmm.
Once you get into that habit, you don't have to think about doing it again. The problem is people will allow themselves to do whatever they want to do and expect the results to be there, and they're not there. So what we do is we figure out their financial goal, okay? And that financial goal is going to get them exactly what they want in life, and we narrow it all the way down to a daily action, which is contacts. How many contacts do they need to make with the type of people they're talking to? Is it a cold lead? Is it a sphere group? Whatever. We narrow it down to that, and we hold them accountable to that.
So we use the example with autopilot, right?
Mm-hmm.
You and I, so my wife and I are going to Hawaii in January. We take off from Phoenix, and if the autopilot corrected or checked in every hour, we would check in and we'd be off course. We'd
hour in, you're off 5 degrees. Oh, guess what?
Exactly.
Now you're going.
Now we're hitting Alaska, not Hawaii.
Yeah.
30 minutes. Now we're hitting San Francisco. Now we're hitting LA. Versus going if we check in, it checks in 30 times a second, whatnot. It allows for you not to get off course. That's the reason why we do daily accountability, and it's
course correcting on their goal.
Yep.
In a minute, simple arena.
Some don't even need correction.
Correct.
It's just a evaluation of where they're at.
Exactly.
So, and when we talk about accountability with that, there is accountability because it's put up on a sheet and we go over them every morning with everybody in our organization. Somebody like Juliana, I don't think that Juliana wakes up in the morning and goes, I need to put my accountability numbers in. She just puts them in. It is so routine for her now that accountability, that part of accountability has become part of her life.
And I don't want to go down a rabbit hole on this, but individuals that have a hard time doing that don't belong in our organization. It's just that simple. And that sounds rude, but it's just like we've got to get them into the habit of understanding that their actions are going to end up being a result.
Because while real estate is an individual, there's individual activities. Being on a team is a team sport. So if you're not hitting your goals, you're not only letting yourself down, you're letting the team down.
There you go. That's that person to the left and to the right.
Correct.
And that's where it comes into play, where they're going, okay, hey, what's going on with this person? Because they haven't put their numbers in today yet. What's up?
They notice.
That's right.
They notice big time.
Yeah.
So yeah, it becomes part of that. So we do a daily checkup. We do a weekly one, and we do a monthly one, and then From there, I mean, it just keeps going quarterly, 6 months, year. It just, and it's not, and I would hope that the agents that are in production don't feel this either, is it's not a oppressive type deal. Is we know that if you wake up, people vote with their feet every day, right? The people in organization, they are there every day, and they're there because the part of it is the accountability.
Yeah. You mentioned something there that kind of resonated with me a little bit. You're like, well, why would you check in every week then, or every month, and then every quarter, and then every year? I mean, I go back to what Anthony Azar taught me, was inspect what you expect.
Yep.
And all you're doing is you're inspecting things from a minute daily piece to okay, what's the trend monthly now? What's the trend quarterly? So you can expect the results that are going to be there.
Yeah.
Because what we do today is going to result in 30, 60, 90 days out. It's not
Expect
going to
and predict.
That's right. So it makes it makes your business, which is a what? Commission-based industry, predictable. It's that simple.
What I like about this is the team side and accountability is, without naming names, we have an individual that before they got into organization, when they were just starting, they were at one of the most humbling experiences about where they're at financially. Put it that way. And this individual shared that at our summit, and another member, we were talking about, what's our big ahas, takeaways from this, and why are you a part of the team? And he looked over at the other individual. He goes, now my responsibility is to make sure that person's never in that situation again.
Absolutely.
And one of the ways of doing that is accountability.
There you go. Making sure that they hit their numbers or whatever they're. And again, it goes right back to what you started with. It's not
punitive.
It's not, and it's not our numbers. It's their number.
Yeah.
It's what's going to provide for their family.
But and when we set 3 different goals, and we'll talk about this more, but our people's goals are all over the board, literally.
Yes, they are.
Like James Hughes up in Las Vegas, his survive goal is 0.
Okay, now let's define that a little bit. Meaning that he does not have to be in real estate to...
He's got a military pension.
That's correct.
Retirement, health insurance, all that stuff. He's not going to be going on vacation or buying a boat or anything like that, but he can eat top ramen and survive. Now, is that where he wants to be? No, that's why he's got different goals. So
then it moves up to what kind of a goal?
Success.
Yep, and I'm not testing you. I'm testing my dad and your mom, the only two that are listening to this. So, so that success goal. So therefore, we talk about that. And what is that, though?
A success goal would be one by which I can go, I'm proud of the accomplishment financially that happened this year.
And you know what? The way I define it is I got guacamole whenever I wanted to.
Yeah.
Just so you're not really thinking about that financial.
Yeah, like I look at for us, obviously feeding 5 in our house, going, when my wife comes home with the van full of groceries, I'm not going,
how much did you spend?
How much did you spend?
Yeah.
That type of stuff.
Because every single one of us have been in survival mode, and it's a more stressful environment.
Yeah. I would say it sucks.
Yeah.
And then the third one talked about a significance going, not only did I get guacamole, I bought my entire family Chipotle once a week.
Yep.
So we're going to move these around. How do you maintain culture? That one is a kind of a loaded question because every organization has culture.
Yes.
It's just a matter of, is it a positive, productive culture, or is it a negative one?
And you know what? It's just the way the word sounds. I don't like the word culture itself. Cohesiveness. How do people work together? How do they care about each other? Why would they fall on the sword for each other? That's a culture, So I get it. I understand definition-wise, but I think sometimes the word is overused and not really understood.
Here's the other thing. I think that there is a big misconception of, let's use cultures because it's a popular word, but cohesiveness and everything else. there's a misconception that you have to thoroughly like and enjoy every single person in your organization. Like you have to invite them to Thanksgiving. Dude, I don't even like people in my family, and we're blood related, but they're still
At least
family.
they won't be hearing this.
Yeah, but they're still family, right?
Yeah.
I say that jokingly, but it's true. It's like there's a difference. Let me ask you this. Did you thoroughly enjoy and love to spend time with every single person that you worked with in your 20-year military career?
Absolutely not.
Would you fall on the sword for them?
Absolutely.
So there's a difference there.
Yes, and I'm glad that you brought that up because it does tie into one of the questions that we get, which is what's one of the biggest mistakes that you've made? In mine was trying to get everybody to be like me.
Yep.
And I'm like, that does not, to me right now, does not make any sense at all.
No.
We have to have diversity. We have to understand the other individual on why they are the way that they are, not for them to adapt to us.
It's not a healthy business.
No.
If everybody looks like you, acts like you, thinks like you. So maintaining culture is, I think, vetting people is one, getting input of other people, and when you, I think we need to do a better job rephrasing this. Just talking about this out loud is going, what do you think of this person? Well, I didn't like. I'm not asking if you like them. Mm-hmm. Do you think they would be an asset to the organization? Can we help them get where they're going? They help us.
Exactly. Can we, with what we have, help them get where they want to go? And in light of that, where are they going? And is it in alignment where we want to go?
Yeah. I'm not asking you to invite them over for Christmas Eve every year. That's not what I'm asking. So there's a you can have unity without full likeness.
Well, I get it, because what do I always tell the team? We're a bunch of misfits.
Yeah, we are. Yeah.
However, we get along better than anybody else that you can think of, you know, because we're different.
Yeah.
That's why.
And it's truly spoken like a family, and you will get our organization right now. I think we've got 32 people or 33 people. At any given time, 2 people are going to be irritated with each other.
Oh, absolutely.
Or 10 people or whatever. But that's not what it's about, right? It's not about going, oh, we're always going to get along all the time. And we do deals together. We double-side deals sometimes.
Yes.
And
well, there's also that it's a hard line.
Yep.
To where you don't cross, you know. You may be irritated at somebody, but you don't disrespect them.
Absolutely.
You know, that's
hard to walk back from.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
So maintain culture. What is the structure of team integrity?
Man, I can go so many different directions right now. I don't even know if that's a part of this, but we do get that question. It's interesting. We have 6 different people that are non-producing agents, that their sole purpose is to make sure that they are taking care of the producing agents and getting them to do the things that they need to do, getting them the things that they need.
Leverage.
Yep, leverage on that behalf. Looking at trends, looking at making sure that the transactional piece is taken care of, making sure that the marketing is taken care of, so they can work on what they do best, which is talking to people.
I'm sure that there would be, if we brought in business consultants and they looked at the structure, I'm sure that they would go, that's not right. You shouldn't have it as equal as it is. Mm-hmm. And our response would be like, I get it, but it works. Mm-hmm. You know, like,
yeah, well, it works at a pretty high level.
Yeah. Like, so what is the structure? Some days it's putting together buyer folders. Some days, yesterday, one of our agents was having a bad day of volunteering.
Yeah. And it's basically, all right, good to go.
Right.
I'm not a counselor, but I kind of feel like it's
apparently we're all part of the
thing.
PTA now, and we're going to help out.
Absolutely.
So
we're dropping what we're going to drop. We're going to drop everything to take care of this right now.
Yeah. Like,
I don't care what it is. Yeah.
For example, we have with 2 listing agents, and one of them was out of town, and it was a crazy month. And I went out one day and took lock boxes off, put them on. I haven't done that in years. It was just like,
that's what
we needed.
Yes,
that's what we needed in that time.
You do whatever you got to do to make things happen.
Absolutely,
and it's not like, hey, that's your job.
Goes back to the last podcast is when somebody's a giver.
That's right.
You do that all day long. When Jess Castillo asked for something, we do it.
Yep. Well, the thing is when they get to a point to where they have to ask, it's serious.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And also one of the first people to help out.
That's right.
So we've got 2 left. Biggest mistakes and how do you set goals? Let's do biggest mistakes last.
Okay.
Because who knows how long that'll take. And so let's do with how do we set goals? And we've kind of talked a little bit about this.
Yeah. I think the goal setting piece, we actually brought a psychologist in just the other day, talking to the team a little bit about this, because I think that's the fundamental, that's the foundation of why we do what we do daily. If we don't remind ourselves of why we're doing what we're doing, we can get lost and just, again, not be on the path that we want to be on.
So it goes back to why set goals.
Yeah. I think it's a clear focus on what you want to do. Not only, and it's in life, it's just in general. I mean, so we will do that on many different platforms.
Even if you're not competitive, you still want to know if you're winning or losing.
Yeah. Well, again, do you want to bowl without keeping score?
No, really? I don't want to bowl in general.
Yeah. Well, just like soccer.
But if I'm going to bowl,
Yep.
I need to know if I'm winning or losing,
That's right.
Yeah. So setting goals is, we just revisit, we have 3 different types of goals. And the survival one, what we find a lot is people's survival goals that they write down first is usually much higher than their true survival goal.
Yeah. It's
interesting
to me because I get a little frustrated with that.
Because survival is not going, okay, my survival goal is I only go to the movies once a week.
Yeah. It's like, no, survival means that you can't go to the movies.
Yeah, you do a silent movie.
That's right. Yeah. And ramen comes in many different flavors. That's what survival is.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. A lot of people live out beyond their means. Yep. But they think that's survival.
I can remember we talked about this when my wife and I we had made the decision for her to stay home with the kids, and I was working at church, and we were broke. Like if I could get to 0, that would have been an accomplishment. And when you get to that point, like you understand like what surviving is, and it wasn't like this sob story, but like when you're going back, when your expenditures are literally more than what's coming in.
Yeah, and I think you have to do the math too, though, because you have to know when that's happening or if that's happening.
And even in that time, though, I can tell you there was probably still more stuff I could have cut out. Mm-hmm. So I was in survival mode,
and not thinking abundance.
Yeah. So setting goals is huge, and having those goals, I think that not a lot of mistakes people have is they set goals and they don't revisit them enough.
I agree.
Or evaluate.
So we have an agent, and I do this all the time. I will literally walk into one of our offices, and it has everybody's vision board on the wall. We kind of condense them down to an 8 by 10, so we can have all 30 plus vision boards on the wall. And I will literally stare at those and go, okay, hey, how can I help somebody cross something off?
Yeah.
Because that's my job, if you think about it. And then the unique thing is when somebody crosses something off, everybody's applauding.
Yeah.
So that's why you do it, is to get what you want out of life, whatever it is. And on a vision board, it's visual. And if you consistently revisit it, like you said, the opportunity for it to come true is going to be there a lot.
Absolutely. And when you cross something off, you get excited when other people cross stuff off.
That's right. Because you're proud of them.
Yep.
Yeah.
Biggest mistakes. Let's go to, let's keep it around 3 biggest mistakes that we have made, real estate or business related.
Mine is probably, I'm not going to be able to word this or explain this. I think it's not being open early on, not being open to opportunity.
Okay.
In other words, not being able to identify. And I think everybody will struggle with that because, if you knew something was an opportunity, you jump all over it. However, you usually don't know it until it's too late. Yeah. It's like, I should have bought that stock.
Right.
or anything, I think what we do is we get so focused, and I use the analogy with hockey puck. We get so focused looking down at the puck that we don't look at where the puck's going to be going or where it needs to go.
Perfect example of
And we
that.
get blindsided.
I don't know if you saw in the news that came out that Blockbuster, I think 6 years ago, had the opportunity to buy Netflix for $50 million.
Mm-hmm.
And the CEO of Blockbuster at the time thought it was a joke. Maybe it was 10 years, something like that. But $50 million. Can you imagine if they would have bought that for $50 million, what the ROI on that is now?
It changed the world.
And
that's the thing. Is I think you just don't know because you're so hyper focused on what you're doing, and you're not even lifting your head up. And I think that's one of the biggest things for me is I'm like, oh, slow down. And I see it in people that get so busy, they get caught in the busyness. You can't see the forest through the trees analogy, all these different pieces, but it's just like, stop, slow down,
Yep.
enjoy what you have right now and look at where things are going for you.
I think a mistake that we have too is, and it'll be one forever, is always wanting to get creative. I think that's
you know what,
and that's every person that's got
that's a whole different podcast, because I think you're right.
Anybody's got any type of entrepreneurial tendencies in them is always going to want it, even if it's a small bit of creativity. They're going to want to get creative.
Well, what happens is we're doing stuff and it gets boring.
It's not sexy.
It's boring.
Let me ask you this. If you were to do, every single day, you were to do 200 push-ups and 200 sit-ups and nothing else, anybody would see results. Mm-hmm. There is nothing sexy about doing 200 push-ups and sit-ups every single day.
But you're going to try and get creative and do what?
Oh, I'm going to run this. I'm going to sign up for this.
8-minute abs,
2
dude.
weeks. Yeah. Right. I'm going to stand on something that's going to make my fat vibrate out.
Yeah.
Like it's, we try to get creative, yet sticking to the nuts and bolts of what got you there to the show.
Because it gets boring.
Yeah.
And you know what? I think that's probably one of the most dangerous things in an organization too, is individuals that are unwilling to do the boring stuff, because they think that their creativity is going to get them where they want to go. And here's the bad thing. Sometimes they get lucky out of the gate. And it's just like, I'm like, oh,
we talk about this in the real estate realm all the time, going, we love seeing agents get into production quick.
Absolutely.
But one of the biggest detriments they have is when they get 1 or 2 transactions like week 2 of real estate and they go, this is so easy.
Yeah. Yeah, this is easy. I got this now. And not only that, so what do? They let their foot off of what we call lead generation.
Yes.
And so then the next 2-3 months after that, they're like, oh, what happened? What happened?
Yeah.
And then you would think they learned the lesson.
Yep.
But now, guess what? They're now in that habit. And trying to break that habit is tough,
And another one I think that we have dropped the ball on before is not doing enough background check on people.
Oh yeah.
Like, and that's on me. Like, it's when people can woo you, right? There's
they can fake anything for 30 days.
Yeah. Which that's why to protect that, a 30, 60, 90 day.
Well, that's what I look
program.
at that's why, you know what? I don't want to hire a matcher, to be honest.
Yeah.
I'm not
goes back to you don't
scarcity. I want to give her, man.
You also don't want to invest in anything that's a 1-to-1 return.
Correct.
You
Correct.
got to go above and beyond that. So
yeah.
I think that, and this is for any organization, do not hire too quickly.
Yeah.
Do not hire too quickly.
That's a mistake.
Yeah, very big mistake.
We've done that.
When you hire out of pain or whatnot. But
what do you mean by that? I mean, I know what you mean by that.
Hire out of pain meaning
I'm so busy and I need an admin. I'm going to hire one. Oh, you know what? This person's in front of me. They're an admin.
I'm a solo agent. I'm super busy this month. I need to hire a buyer's agent or showing assistant or something like that. You meet with one meeting and you go, you know what? You're a good person.
Yep.
I'm going to bring you on.
And you know what? I'm too busy to slow down to make the right call. And good luck later on when you're trying to clean up that mess.
And what I love about we have a process called career visioning to go through to get references. And part of that is going 2 or 3 deep on references. Meaning, if Aaron, you're applying for an organization, I meet with you, I'll say, hey, give me 3 references. I talk to them. And then those 3 references I ask for 3 other references that know you. And then those I ask for 3 other references. The reason being is Aaron, if you apply for a position I have, are you going to give me 3 people that are going to give me negative feedback?
Yeah, right.
The second layer, maybe. The third layer, definitely not.
Yeah, they're going to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
Of what they, what their perception is.
Yeah. So get in the background because people can fake stuff, but having a clear trial introductory time is huge.
Yeah.
All right, we covered a lot.
Man,
that was good.
We sure did.
Sweet. All right.
So where do we go from here now?
Well, we
have those 5.
We've got those 5. We will be releasing one. We are heading up to Phoenix tomorrow. Actually, we've got a 1 mission gala. When was the last time you went to something literally titled a gala?
I'm 50.
So
Does
50
that tell you
years.
anything? Yeah. So I was like, my wife was like, hey, what do we have to dress up? How do we dress? I'm like, well, we paid X amount of dollars for this table,
Yes.
so you tell me what that means,
So
it's like, what?
The instructions said cocktail attire, and I told you, I'm like, I'm going full Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
White T-shirt, chonies, socks,
Yeah.
sunglasses.
I had to get the...
And it's around Halloween. I'm going to show up and be like, wait, you didn't mean like Cocktail the movie? So we got that. And then you are heading to Tony Robbins, correct?
I'm supposed to. In November.
In
Yeah.
November. Hey,
Yeah.
you realize that's next week, right? November is.
It is. Yeah.
And then
it's
a
around
house
the corner.
build next month. And
Yep.
just a lot of stuff. A lot of good stuff.
Yeah, I did find out that there was a trip that I used to go to Peru or Haiti or whatever. It's during the same time of Ragbride this year. I'm like, what? So I can't go to that. So I got to figure something else
We'll
out.
just make a different one.
There you go.
Costa Rica, 2020.
Boom, let's do it.
All right. On
All
that
right.
note, peace out.